Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Winthrop Votes the Issues. I'm Todd Sacco, your host, here with my, co-host, producer, the king of producing, Scotty
on
McLean.
Facebook. What's up, buddy?
Well, we got a lot to talk about, but I thought, we're giving folks a bit to get on here. I thought we'd warm up a little bit. Just make a couple of announcements, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So town meeting tomorrow night. I think that's probably important to announce. Maybe people might want to go there, 7:00, the Harvey Room. I think the biggest issue for me that's going to be on the agenda is they're going to be talking about appropriating $50,000 to hire a consultant agency to tell them what to do with the middle school building. So apparently there's going to be some action on the middle school site, the old middle school site. So that's good news.
Yeah, at least they got the if they can't do it, at least they're owning up to bring in somebody that maybe can do something about it, because it's been sitting for a while.
The only red flag or thing to watch out for is you got transition, right? You've got this meeting and you've got this commission. Hopefully they'll wait for this group that they're hiring, this consulting firm.
Well, looks like it's been tabled.
Oh, there you go. So we'll move off of that.
Yeah. Now, just to interrupt for a second, we're streaming live over Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching on the Facebook group, Winthrop Votes group, when you comment in, it'll just say Facebook user. If you're watching from my page, your name will come up. And if you're watching through YouTube, you can comment at the bottom. You'll see it. YouTube's not as easy as it's easy, but some people think it's difficult. But you can comment through there and your name will come up. So if we just see Facebook user, we don't know who you are, but that's okay. Thanks for watching. Back to you, Todd.
Yeah. So the other thing, one of the other things I wanted to mention was I was actually watching the school committee meeting tonight, and while I was deeply disturbed by the learning loss that everyone's dealing with because of COVID, it was far worse than I thought, but that's neither here nor there. At this point, I found it weird that even though, so they were having the meeting in the town building, which you do not have to wear masks, but it's all of the school people where when you go in the school, you have to wear masks. If you're making our kids wear, I just found it to be a little bit hypocritical, because aren't they the ones who were the frightened ones who were saying, no, not until it's safe, not until it's safe. So it was
and you're saying they're in the meeting without masks on?
Yeah. And it's okay by rules in Winthrop. It's okay to go to town hall or any town building without your mask on. You can't go to the schools. That's it. Strange. And that's very strange, but whatever.
Well, it's not surprising though. Agenda driven. But
yeah, and it's government fragmented.
Let me start off my portion by saying, so evidently last show I ruffled some feathers. I was called a homophobe. I was called a bully. I was called a couple other things.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. I got it was somebody's response to the video. There was a comment after the fact, I believe.
Okay.
They didn't like the fact that I might have mocked some liberals. And I think they think I need to be a little more sensitive about that. I think not. You see, the thing is, I'm not going to be censored by anybody. You're not going to censor me. I'm going to speak my mind. I always have. I always will. If I mock, it means I'm joking. I'm not being visceral or hateful or any of that. It's levity, which I guess some liberals, lack that. They don't understand levity. They don't understand humor. They like to be insulted, and they like to have a reason to call someone a racist and a homophobe and all those nice labels that they give people. See, I'm starting it again. I know.
Yeah.
I should probably back off.
Land the
But
plane.
I am man enough. I am man enough and professional enough to say, if I did offend you, I apologize. It's probably going to happen again eventually, and I'll apologize again. But for now,
Why don't we just put an insurance policy? Look, it's never really meant. I know people are sensitive, and that's the problem, right? Unfortunately, I can't predict who is sensitive and who isn't, and neither can you.
we don't know who's watching unless
Exactly.
you tell us who it is. I don't know who's watching.
It's really meant to be levity. I mean, God, I was never mind.
Well,
Pass on that
there's
topic.
Wendy, friend of the show. I should behave. I should, but again, it's levity. It's I do it with humor, and it's not like I'm a hateful person. I just call it the way I see it, and sometimes how I express it, well, it is what it is. But I won't be censored.
No, and
That won't happen.
But you bring up a good point, though, or an interesting point, right, on this front, because it's true. Some people can get offended, but we all, including the offendee, we all have a responsibility to try to bridge the gaps that exist between us. If you are someone who is hypersensitive, maybe it's time you do your part and help check yourself. And, while we're doing our part, because I know he just said, Scott just said he was sorry, and I'll do you one.
I said I apologize.
All right, there is a difference. You're right.
There is a difference between saying I'm sorry and I apologize.
I'll do you one better. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say this, Johnny Bentley. Hopefully you'll hear this. I apologize.
There you go.
The olive branch is there still.
Yeah. I mean, things happen. People say things. And if you're going to hold the grudge, well, you're carrying a lot of extra weight you shouldn't have to carry. But we're not here to talk about people's psyche and how people see things. Let's get back to the school committee, the school board, the schools, what they're teaching, what they're learning, what they're being taught. Go, be my guest. Go on.
1 second, though, because that's going to be the bulk of this. So I want to just quickly, let's do the "And Still We Rise" thing real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Let's give that 5-10 minutes, and then it's gonna, because what the school thing's gonna take some time.
And before you do that, let me jump ahead of you and say December 2nd at 7:00. That is the appeals board meeting for the condo monstrosity up on Shore Drive.
Yep.
Be sure to go to that Zoom meeting. I will be putting out the information for it. Please attend that. Go on there. Just listen. If you have nothing to say, that's fine. Or just call in or tap in, however you do Zoom, and just say, I'm Scott McLean. I live on Locust Way, and I'm against this. But you have to be heard. Don't trust anybody. Like they say in the UFC, don't leave it up to the referees. Don't leave it up to the referees. Don't leave it up to the, be heard. Be heard. Trust me on this one, or you'll be living in Revere via Winthrop. And I'm done with that.
Yeah, cool. And all right, so on to this "And Still We Rise" issue, which is the group that's helping Meredith Hurley in the Department of Public Health re-educate us. I mean, candidly, that's what it is. And by the way, on a side note on that, I just want everyone to think back to the 1940s. I mean, when you put this into context, this is very scary. And when you see the video we have for you with regards to what's being taught to our teachers in service development, or at least that's what we're being told, that's even scarier. But getting back to "And Still We Rise," I tried to have an open mind, and I'm still going to try to join again. I had a horrendous time, never got in, got a thank you note. I wanted to talk to somebody about it. I hope someone is in the audience or listening that got in. I'd like to know how it went. I'm curious if it's worth going back again or if the numbers keep dropping. But I have to say, I have questions, like how much are we spending on this thing and no one's really going to it. It's not getting any traction. And how much of Meredith's time is being spent on this? Because I'm told it's grants. It's never just grants. It's always some other resource, some other cost. And so I'm really hoping that, someone will come on at some point, because I'm not going to drop this. I'm going to keep bringing this up until it's over.
So we paid for something that not everybody could get into, because I can't assume you were the only one. That would be discriminatory, wouldn't it?
I was not the only one, but I'm the only one I know that didn't end up getting in, for what that's worth.
Right. So we're paying for something that people don't have access to.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I think there's one or two more of those things.
Maybe three. And I don't know if there's going to be another series after the fact.
Oh.
I mean, that's why I wanted to talk.
There's money better spent in other places. There.
Well, and this is another product. Apparently, I could be wrong. Please call in and correct me if I am. Send a comment. But apparently, this is another Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission work. They have something to do with this. It is my understanding. Again, I could be wrong. Correct me if I am. I'll be happy to say I apologize.
Well, like you said last week, that's a good transition, because I was given more than a few items of interest recently by some of the viewers of the show, and they seem to be very adamant about getting this information out there. So let's start from maybe the beginning of the information that I have. So I was sent this. All right. And it's going to be blurry on your screen. I'm still trying to work on that, but I'll read it to you. Right. So it's the Winthrop Board or Committee public body posting. This is from, let's see, October 25th, 2020, it looks like, right?
Yeah. They posted 2 days in advance.
Yeah.
That's the law.
And part of this is from the Commission for Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations. This is their agenda from one of their meetings. It was Wednesday. All right, this is Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. The third item down, school DEI curriculum update. Why are they, well, before I ask that question, let me bring up another one. This is from July 14th, 2021. With the Board of Committee public body posting. This is their agenda for the Commission for Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations in Winthrop. This is going on in Winthrop Town Hall. This is going on our time, on whatever, inside the town hall. It's let's see, the fourth item down, update Superintendent Lisa Howard, fall 2021 diversity curriculum in schools. Am I the only one that sees something wrong with that? Let me read this again. This is the Diversity and Inclusion and Community Relations Committee. All right, this is the volunteers. These are the people that fill that the now ousted town council president evidently appointed. They're discussing, and they want to update the superintendent. This would update Superintendent Lisa Howard, fall 2021 diversity curriculum in schools. Why are they updating the superintendent?
Well, all right. Let's flip the script for a second, right? Maybe she's updating them. Either way,
okay, I'll take that.
All right.
I'll take that.
Either way, what is the, again, I'm the parent. I write checks. They're my kids. You know, this is not state sanctioned stuff going on here that I'm aware of. It's not, that commission is not an educational professional group in any way. What are they doing?
Remember, according to them, or according to whoever, I know when we first brought this up, people were like, oh, they're only a what is it?
Advisory.
They're only an advisory. They're just advisory people. That's it. Yeah. That's pretty active for advising, if you ask me. That's pretty active.
Yep. And Jim, by the way, Jim's on notice for me that we need to talk about that commission and who's sitting on that thing.
Oh, this only gets better.
Yes,
it only
please.
gets better.
Enlighten us, please.
And by the way, there's still no minutes That's just agenda stuff. So they're in violation of open meeting laws in the state of Massachusetts, but evidently they don't care, or they're just that clueless. It's either one, people. You're either clueless and don't care about the system and how it runs, and you're going to do your own thing, or you just don't care. You're just going to do it anyways. I don't know. But so recently I posted something that another person had sent to me. You see, there's people out there that are fighting back, and they're going to fight back through us because they don't want to lose their jobs, because that's what happens to people that go against this. They get canceled.
Yeah.
So all of this has led up to what was sent to me. Let me see. I'm trying to find this. So they got this going on. The teachers have an in-service training, evidently. Teachers have an in-service training, and this is part of the in-service training. Right.
Before you roll it, if anyone, while they're leaving it up there, leave it up there. If anyone has any input in from the schools that wants to private message us to confirm this stuff, because this has been sent to us anonymously.
Well, this is right off the screen.
Yeah, but yes, this is correct. Well,
it's some is sent anonymously, some is sent, but they're my what I will call, and what we call in law enforcement, my confidential informant. That's it. This is who the people are that are contacting me, at least.
And who's Tyrone Howard, by the way? Do you have a little blurb
Dr. Tyrone Howard is a I'm not sure who he is. This is done by him, okay. Right? This is part of it. So, Dr. Tyrone Howard, and actually these teachers had workshops on how to process their white privilege. Okay? Mm-hmm. Teachers had workshops, Winthrop teachers in the Winthrop school system, on how to process their white privilege. Again, am I the only one that sees something wrong with this? But this is the diversity committee in action. They used to be underground, but they're not anymore. We are going to call them out on everything. So, and this is just the beginning, because I will, and Todd will get more information. People will send us stuff. They were also told, let's see. Oh, and all that white privilege was centered around equity and diversity. Equity and diversity. Yeah. Only if you're white, that doesn't apply to you. You're the one that has to bend. And there's white people watching that they love that stuff, and good for you. But I don't think you're in the majority. That's just me.
Well, and here's what's interesting, just if you don't mind me cutting in here for a second.
Yeah.
I appreciate and understand when someone says to me, you can't know because you never walked in their shoes. Okay, that's fair. Dr. Tyrone, what's his name again? I'm sorry.
Howard,
yeah. He can't know about us either, right? And I'm not just, forget about the whole, I started a station higher. Just in general terms, if you're trying to mend fences and help correct the education system by educating white people on how the black people have had, how we can help them be better, I guess, or communicate better, or be less racist towards them. Don't you think he would need to have education and experience in working with like white studies of some kind? And where I'm going is I'm reading his bio on his website. And again, like And Still We Rise, everything is about, and this isn't a bad thing, but I just don't think it makes him qualified, but everything's about black. Founder of the Black Male Institute, dedicated to improving the educational experiences and the life chances of males of color. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. But what do you understand about me and my challenges? First of all, forget about the color of my skin. You know nothing about me. So how are you, or my children who are in that school system? Do you see where I'm going with this, Scott?
Yeah. I got to check something out. Hold on. I'm going to put this back up here.
Okay, let's do
Look,
that.
check this out. Check out what is wrong with these pictures.
There's a bullet
The first
hole.
one is diversity in curriculum. The second one is challenges whiteness. It's a bullet hole.
Or it pushes hole through it, or what? It's breaking.
That's a bullet hole, dude. I've shot targets for 30 years. That's a bullet hole.
What are you saying?
I don't know. What are they saying? Why is there a bullet hole in this career? Like, why is it? How is that even relevant unless it's a subliminal message they're trying to throw out there?
There's no chance.
This is being taught to the Winthrop teachers.
Hold on. There's no chance that could be the tip of this pen going through that piece of paper.
Why?
I don't know. Just
Looks like a bullet hole to me.
well, I mean, it looks like one to me too, and I've shot a lot less than you, so my experience on that stinks.
So let's get a clip from that training that one of my sources, one of my confidential informants sent to me. And I know the school system is losing their mind. Who is it? Who's the leak? Who's telling this? They're not going to find out. They're definitely not going to find out. But just know it's there. So whatever you teach, and I can't think the superintendent doesn't know about this. First of all, I can't think she doesn't know about this training. She has to. Because according to my source, everything goes through her. So she can't separate from this unless, again, the inmates are running the asylum and she's letting the teachers and the counselors and the principals do whatever they want, and she has no control over the Winthrop school system. Now, I know they just hired her. They re-upped her contract for a lot of money, somewhere around, what, $200,000 a year, I think?
Yeah, close to it, 190, I think.
Okay, give or take 10 grand,
And who knows, there could be other things in there that they sometimes have perks in their contracts.
So she's making a lot of money, so she better be in control of this. And if she says she isn't, then she's wrong and we hired the wrong person, because they say, I can't think that she's ignorant to this. And let me break out this. Now there's something in this video that you're going to, and I picked it up immediately. Most people don't, and I'll point it out afterwards. All right. Or maybe if I stop the video and I'll say something. So here's Dr. Tyrone Howard on one of these in-service video training for, I know this is in the Winthrop school system. I think it's in other school systems also. So here we go. Listen to this.
White teachers to start stepping up and also do the advocating. I'm going to ask my white teachers to start also seeing the best and brightest in our students of color. I'm going to ask my white teachers to start saying, why don't we have more of our students of color having opportunities in our AP and honors classrooms? I want to have more of our white teachers saying, wait a minute, why are we so quick to just suspend and push out so many of our students? Because we need all hands on deck. This cannot be the labor only of teachers of color. This cannot only be the labor of leaders of color. This can not only be the labor of our staff members of color. We need all hands on deck supporting our students. And I'm going to also ask us to think about this within the context of punishment and discipline, because punishment and discipline is an area where we have to be better. I maintain we push out far too many of our students of color, and I maintain that the data sort of says that we need to be better. Data sort of says that we maintain that the data sort of says that we need to be better here. So
Are you trying to tell us he's sort of
maintain that
something?
the data sort of says that we need to be better here. So I looked at your data. Says that we need to be better here. So I looked at your data.
I want to get this across.
See, how are you doing?
I think you did it.
And I maintain that the data sort of says that we need to be
better
better here. So I looked
sort
at
of
your
says
data across the 5 districts to see how are you doing
sort of.
when it comes to issues of suspensions and diversity. Now, I know there are folks who are like, okay, do we really want to have this conversation? Yeah, we have to, because these conversations are hard.
All right. Data sort of says. He kind of blazes by that, right? Oh, again, maybe it's my cop mind, the way I hear things. I pick up everything people say, and I caught that immediately. Data, for the people that don't understand data, and I ran this by my wife. She's a PhD in nursing philosophy. It's the highest degree you can get in the nursing world. She said, data doesn't sort of say anything. Data is pure. But if you say data sort of says something, that means you're skewing it, you're twisting it, you're moving the data, you're moving the goalposts. So that guy is full of it. He created something. The data sort of says we have to be better. Do you people get this? I don't even know if the teachers caught that. This guy is teaching our teachers on stuff that he says the data sort of says. Sort of says.
Scott, here's the good news. My understanding, and this goes back years and years, this has been going on with professional development for a very long time. There's not a lot of people paying attention. And in fact,
evidently the superintendent isn't paying attention because I'm sure she watched this. The superintendent, I'm sure she watched this.
I hope
and
so.
She didn't catch that the data sort of says. Okay. Go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry.
No, it's I mean, it's quite all right. It's this is just another example of, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Crazy lefty looniness. What do you want to call it?
There's sensitive people out there, Todd.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's sensitive people watching.
But we have rights. I mean, we're really not, I guess as parents, right? We're supposed to trust the educators to educate the educators in these professional development situations. But at the end of the day, two things have happened with professional development consistently. One, the attendance is poor, and usually the people that are there are screwing around. Not a lot of good work gets done. And I don't care. Sorry, not sorry that I said it, because our kids are getting ripped off because of that, because I believe professional development is important. And the second thing is you get in service, right? So when you get in service, that means you don't have to get paid extra hours. So what happens is they don't go to the in-service ones, some, and this happens in Winthrop. And then at the end of the school year, when they're running out of time, where's my professional development? And I don't know if it's happened recently in Winthrop. So to be fair, I don't want to trash what's going on currently, but it has happened, and I'm going to be looking for it. At the end of towards the end of the school year, when time's running out, well, we want our training, and I guess you'll have to pay us for our time now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not right.
So now what have we covered? Let's kind of rehash. So we've covered that the diversity, equity, and inclusion committee has their finger in the school pie, right? They're injecting themselves into it. They have, who's the liaison between the diversity equity committee and the school?
Preble.
Anita Preble. And is she a teacher?
She is the liaison. Let's get this straight. She's the liaison from the school district to the Diversity Equity Commission. It's not, no, they don't have someone from, right, going into the schools. They have this person attending. They have a person on the payroll attending. And I'm not saying that they're paying them to attend these meetings, but they're going to their meetings instead of having someone from the DEI commission update the liaison at the school committee.
So they have, I'm sure, in-depth conversation. I could be, speculation, but there's a good chance if she's the only one at that meeting, they're having in-depth conversation because they're all of equal mind. They all want to change, the school system. So who is paying for the in-service?
So I have to double check because I haven't personally looked at the budget, but my understanding is there's been $20,000 allocated to in-service training. I don't know how much this cost. I have a FOIA request out looking for all that information. So hopefully we'll have it before the next meeting. Wendy Millar, friend of the show, tells us Anita is a school adjustment counselor. Okay, that's all fine and good, and I'm happy that
doesn't matter what she does.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
She could be the janitor. Doesn't matter.
Anyway.
She's a liaison to that board,
She's the liaison. And let me
to that
read
committee.
something to you from their meeting minutes from that's September 22nd, 2021. The DEI committees at each school. Okay. So the diversity, equity, and inclusion committees at each school. So now we have
They're
people in the
teams.
building.
They call them
Yep.
teams.
Yep. Now that they've taken on more at the schools. Okay, that's
Yes.
fine. That's fine. As long as it's on their own
Teams.
time.
They have teams in the school. Yeah, each school.
The DEI committees at each school will be convening soon to discuss next steps in training staff and looking at our current curriculum, who's our, in the terms of the New York University rubric, which addresses what should, right? So again, which addresses what should be included to be inclusive and diverse. That's that scoring thing that they're talking about. The teachers have to score their own, they have to score their curriculum to ensure that it's diverse.
Well, they have let's see, the teachers are also being asked by the DESE to score their curriculum and basically provide evidence that it's not biased and racist. They're putting it on the teachers to tell them and check themselves that they're not being biased and racist. And they have to send this stuff in. They have to send in their scores or whatever it is. This is absolutely insane. If people don't think this diversity committee, they think they're just a harmless little committee. Oh, they just meet because they want to have they want to have diversity hires in Winthrop, and they want to be able to fly. Say who flies the flag. Oh, they're deeper than that, and we're going to dig up more on them, and we're going to keep digging up more on them. And next week we're going to put their names out there too, because they're public figures now. Right?
Well, here's the funny thing. There are in our school district, my understanding, and again, anyone that's watching, listening, call in, please, if you have any information. I think we have like 8 students of color. I mean, we're not a super diverse town. We don't struggle with these issues. We just don't.
Well, you can't tell them that. If you're not with them, then you're a racist, and you teach racist teachings. It's what it's. This is basically what they're saying. That's basically what they're saying. We want to check you, white teacher.
Hey, can you run that Thomas Vargas?
Yeah, that's why I don't do politics anymore.
Thomas, I can totally respect and understand that, but at the same time, when you don't, this is what happens. I mean, I don't know who you are really. Do you have kids in the school system or any of that? But this is important stuff. I mean, we're parents and we're being blocked out again.
Yeah, Tommy, it's a grind, man. It's a grind keeping up with this. But like I always say, they don't get tired. They are organized, and they set their plans into action, and they follow through. And they bank on people saying, I'm done. They will wear you down. And that's what they try to do. They try to wear you down, but they're organized. They're organized. They put a plan together and they implement it. And I always say, I got to give them credit. They're getting away with it. They're moving. They're moving forward.
Scott, if you don't mind sharing that. And Thomas, one more thing to add. That's why we're here too. That's what this group and these live streams were set up for. So I wanted to share this agenda from last year. If folks remember, again, this is the Diversity and Equity Inclusiveness Commission. If folks remember, last year in Winthrop, there was we'll call it a rally. We'll call it Trump BLM, because that's really kind of what it broke down to. It was outside the police station. Well, if you look at the first agenda item here on this commission's agenda from the 20th, stage protesters rallies.
On Thursdays.
Now, I've requested meeting minutes for this meeting because these minutes are not posted. I can't find them anywhere because I want to know everything that was talked about here, because this is a complete violation of
I think they should be disbanded by the town council president until they meet the requirements of open meeting laws in the state of Massachusetts. I think he has total right to do that, because they're for a group that is so organized, they're either going to claim stupidity, ignorance, or they don't care. But I think they should be disbanded until they get their act together and stop producing the minutes from past meetings. Because we're going to keep looking.
That's right.
We're going to keep looking.
And I don't know how to get. And the other frustrating part, and I talked to Jim Lettieri about this, is the only way to get. It seems that the contact information of these folks is nowhere to be found, and so you have to go through Denise Quist, and she's got enough on her plate. So I've like to find out how do I get in touch with Andrea Baez, because I'd if not to talk to her on the show, if she doesn't want to come on the live stream, can we have a cup of coffee so I can understand better what you're doing? Because nobody from that group wants to talk.
They won't tell you. They won't tell you what they're doing. They just won't, because they've been working underground like this for a while and they're getting away with it. And I don't think anyone has ever talked about their meeting, their agendas or their meeting minutes or anything like that.
Listen, right now you're correct. Right now, what you said is spot on. They're proving you correct, and I'm hoping they prove you wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I think they should halt all meetings until. Oh,
look at it.
Let's see what we got.
Wendy,
you're on the Winthrop Votes live stream.
It's Lane.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
It's Lydia.
I'm good, thanks.
I mean, Lane. It's Lane.
Oh, what's going on?
Hi, Lane.
Hi. I wanted to give you information about the enrollment in Winthrop Public Schools.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the DESE or the DOE, the enrollment data from this year, we have 1,883 students. And of those students, 28 are Black, 9 are Asian, 299 are Hispanic, 19 are Native American, and 18 or 19 are Pacific Islander.
Okay.
So it's not 8 students of color.
No. Okay. So now, all right. So is this, if we group this together, does this make up, and Scott's going to blow a top. Is
BIPOC?
This considered BIPOC?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question.
Black Indigenous people of color.
Yeah. I mean,
it's so redundant and stupid.
Well, but my question still stands, because if these, again, the American Black experience is completely different from the Native American experience, which is completely different from the Latin American experience.
Don't forget the Asians.
Right. And the curriculum, the person we just saw, is only studied in looking to help the Black people. Are they the same as, so Lane, and this, by the way, this is Lane Petrie, school committee candidate, and who was on the show before.
Former candidate.
Oh, yeah. Well, kind of still, right?
I guess, yeah, there's an open spot, Lane.
Yeah. And
I put my name in the running, but
right.
Yeah, former candidate.
So, all right. So I'm glad you called on this, because this is interesting. This is helpful. Honestly, you tell us, you educate us. This whole curriculum is focused on Black. How does that apply to the 299 Latin Americans?
I can't say that it does. I haven't seen that curriculum. I haven't taken that particular professional development. I have taken some that was, of a similar vein. And I mean, the demographics that I work with, the numbers look different. More of the students that I work with, we have a larger percentage of our students are Black. So it I guess would be more relevant if we are taking a more specific professional development. But most of the trainings that I've taken have not been specific to a particular race of students. So I can't speak to this one.
Okay. And no offense, obviously the ones you've experienced aren't really relevant to this discussion, but I think it's very fair then to go back and say, okay, I'm wrong. It wasn't 8, it's 28, because the rest is I'm sorry, the rest is not for the training and everything that they're talking about and all the credentials. Yeah. There's nothing to do with the Native Americans, the Latins, or the Latino culture. There's nothing to do.
Do they? I just kind of an offbeat question, Lane. Do they really not trust white teachers and white administrators that much that they feel that they have to teach you? First of all, understand your white privilege and then teach you how to deal with minority students, do they really not trust white teachers that much? I know it's a question you can't answer.
Who is the they in your question?
They is the, well, evidently it's the school board, the school committee, or the superintendent. Let's start with her, the one that approves this training, this in-service training, right? I would think she's the one that approves it, right?
Well, so here's to play devil's advocate. If she's approving it, that doesn't necessarily mean she's the one requesting that it be delivered.
I got
So it gets delivered by what? The Massachusetts, what? It's from the state, right?
This one I think was put on by NYU.
Which one? The one you took, or the one that we're talking about for Winthrop?
The one that you're talking about.
The one with Tyrone Howard?
Yeah. The ones that I've taken have been through different universities or different educational consultants. It's usually not put on by the state. It's usually independent firms or groups, agencies that put trainings together,
right.
and then they market to the districts.
All right, then that's interesting. So now somebody or some committee or some group had to say, let's take this particular training here,
right,
and let's disseminate it to all the schools. Because that guy, I cut the video short. He's talking also to Everett teachers and pretty much schools, I guess, around the general area of Winthrop. So who is it that brings that in? Who's the one that says, okay, we selected this in-service training and Winthrop teachers have to take it?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to it since I don't work in the school district, but I can tell you where some of the ones that I've sat in on. There have been some that we've done that we have sought because the staff that we supervise have said, you're all white, you don't understand how your interactions with us as the people that you supervise, and we're people of color, you don't understand how your tone comes across or managerial styles, you need training on X, Y, and Z. So then we have sought out, hey, we're considering this person, that person, and the other person. We've asked them out for pitches. We've delivered those pitches to the people asking us to get trained. Which one do you think we should take? And we've let them choose for us, the ones that they want us to have the training on. We've also had some that the superintendent has said, guess what? Everybody in central office, you're taking this 2-day course. Let me know what days you're taking it. So it kind of depends. It can come from different places of people requesting where the training comes from.
Are there any minorities being requested to learn how white people interact and how the tones that might affect us? And is there any of that going on? Do you know of?
Not that I have heard of.
Okay.
I personally have not advocated that anybody receive a training like that. So
it wouldn't be you because you're white.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm white, so I haven't asked any of my colleagues of color to take a particular training about how to interact with me.
Have you heard of anything like that?
I have not. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
No, I'm not. Listen, I know these are questions that you don't have all the answers to. I'm just curious. Maybe you did hear something. I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing, Scott. Like, you bring that up, and Lane, you're kind of a behavioral expert, I would say, right? You studied
Thanks
behavior.
so much. Yes.
I would kind of dovetail off that. I dovetail off that question and just say, look, why shouldn't people of color learn about our idiosyncrasies? If I were a teacher, I'd be offended and I'd never take it. I'd leave the profession, because at the end of the day, this is mamby-pamby nonsense, right? Like, I get it that I never walked in their shoes. However, there are literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of examples, I'm sure we could dig up, of people of all different walks of life walking into an environment like the military, as an example, where people don't look like you. And let me sidebar on that for a second. Slight little rant here, but I really find it interesting that I hear this thing where people say you need an ally group because you need to communicate with people that look like you. So if you're suggesting as a white person, if you're trying to tell me as a white liberal that some people of color need to be in groups of their own because that's where they feel most comfortable, because they don't do well with people that don't look like them, isn't it safe to say that you're trying to say that all black people look alike?
I think Wendy was the one that said that. I don't know if Lane has that.
Oh, no. I mean, right. I'm throwing out there in general. And anyway, crazy nonsense. These are the things that confuse me. But getting back to the main point, Lane, can't we? I mean, there are so many examples of people pushing through these challenges without your help, not your help, but these professional development sessions.
Yeah, there have been, and there have also been periods of time of sort of a stagnant approach, where people are feeling unsupported, or like they're interacting with people who don't understand them for long enough, and then everybody reaches a breaking point. And I think that recent events have sort of opened the doors to those conversations. Well, we've kind of always felt this way, and now people are more open and receptive to these conversations. So this is from the staff that the team of staff, I should say, that my team supervises. I'm talking about these conversations that we've had. So I'm not speaking globally. This is from my experience. So they have asked us, if you're open to it, then let's talk about this. And they have asked, we would like to have a conversation without any of you present, first of all, because we're the supervisors. And secondly, because we're all white. So sure. And then the white ABA specialists, they wanted to have a conversation too, but they were asked to have a separate conversation and then come together. So I know that they're happening, in Winthrop, they've had those conversations. I don't think that it's, I don't know that it's a universal opinion that that's the case. I do know that it has been brought up and voiced to us that people have wanted to have conversations with that frame or within those frameworks.
I know there's teachers in the Winthrop school system. There's a lot of them that don't feel they need it, but they're forced to take it. Believe me, a lot of people have reached out to me. A few are giving me some interesting information.
Mm-hmm.
But
to play devil's advocate, the professional development that I deliver, and this is not just in Boston, I also do professional development consultation to other school districts in Massachusetts.
Right.
The training that I deliver is in my area of expertise, right, which is human behavior, human development, child development, all of that. Some of the people who have joined my trainings have told me at the outset, I don't know why I'm here. My boss is making me, my principal made me be here. I know this stuff. I've been doing it for 25 years. Fortunately, I've had some really positive conversations with people because I feel like I'm pretty good at finding a common ground, even when people disagree with things that I have to say. But often the people who have voiced to me that they don't need those trainings are the ones when we look at classroom practices or we look at data collection systems or classroom management systems. And I'm not saying the way that they work or interact with kids, but the methods with which things are being produced or collected or whatever, things that are even very concrete. Let me look at your data sheets, that kind of thing. I can teach you how to do it better. So even if you don't think you need it.
Right. So you just touched on something very interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're not.
You touched on something very interesting. So you talked about data, and data is solid, right?
Right.
Did you see the video I played earlier by Dr. Tyrone Howard?
I did not. I joined late.
Okay. At one point, he says, and he really blazes by it. He says, well, the data sort of says that we need to do better. He says the data sort of says. This is a training video for the Winthrop teachers, right? It's in-service training. Does data sort of say anything? No.
It does not.
It doesn't. It's solid. It's pure. Data is pure.
If the training was delivered live, I have misspoken in trainings. Nerves get the best of you. You're trying to make connections with people and not come across as...
Lane, you're a smart girl. You're a smart woman. All right?
And these
Thank
guys
you.
I don't think that you would say the data sort of says. And this guy's a doctor. So that means, well, he either has a PhD or he has an educational doctorate or something, but he calls himself doctor. And he says, even if it's live, if you're going to be live and you do this for a job, then you should be pretty smooth at it. He says, quote, the data sort of says that we need to do better. So what kind of training is that? How do you think that training, that right there just told me the whole thing could be a farce? Because data is pure.
That sentence probably could have been restructured and delivered a little bit more.
But he was trying to push his point
firmly.
That we need to do better, meaning we as in the white teachers and the teachers of color. He was referring to everybody. We need to do better. And as he said his data sort of says we need to do better. Then he went on to his point. So he's actually twisting the data to work for him, which you can't do that. But the average person doesn't catch that, right?
People do.
Yeah. Well, evidently Dr. Tyrone Howard did.
Lane, let me get your feedback on this. If you heard this, you would have heard white teachers need to do this, white teachers need to do that, white. And we've agreed, and we've talked about opposition reflex, right?
Mhm.
Why on earth, if you're trying to engage white people, would you come on so strongly that way?
He came on, I wouldn't say strongly, and I'm with you, Todd, but I wouldn't say, he came on like he's encouraging. He was trying to encourage. My white teachers need to do this. My white teachers need to do that.
Okay.
My white teachers. So, but it's still the same thing. But he was being encouraging. He wasn't being demanding.
No,
you know.
but it was dividing the group off the jump.
Well, I don't think Lane has anything to do with that. But
no, but she's a behavior. What I'm getting at is, do you think it's going to get the desired behavior to get people to accept that training?
The desired result.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the desired result.
It depends on the ears that those words are falling
Exactly.
on.
Exactly.
Right.
Everybody.
And the only people who are going to go for it are the ones that are already there. Right. You're not going to reach the people you want. If there are people out there that really need the training, but you're digging them in, they're not going to engage.
Right. Devil's advocate, but they have to try. You know what I mean? If they feel they have to. But anyways, well, Lane, thank you so much for calling.
Thanks for picking up.
Yeah. Oh, hey. How's
busy.
this? I'll lock your number in, Lane.
Please do. Thank you.
Now I'm getting a spam call. No,
Okay.
Stay on.
Thanks, Lane.
Thank you, Lane.
Bye.
Right.
You're not going to answer a spam call, are you?
Well, let's see. This is live.
This is going to be off topic.
With the votes live stream, can I help you? Nothing. Anyways.
This is John Smith from CCC Collection Agency.
Yeah. I owe them money. Well, yeah, so let's rehash again. Oh, wait a minute. So someone says Lane is a behavioral specialist, not a specialist on this one professor. Oh, no. I don't know. Nobody's probably a specialist on this professor. I was asking her opinion on, data and how the guy referred to the data sort of says. So that's all I was referring to. And how she mentioned data, and data is pure.
It's a very legitimate question.
Yeah, well. So we know that the Diversity and Inclusion Committee now has their finger in the Winthrop school system. Well, they got a couple fingers in it now. And we're gonna dig this up more. We're gonna find out more what's going on. We want those minutes. We want those minutes, and I think how's this? If we don't get minutes, we're gonna start having people call, email, and demand something be done, because you can't run a meeting, an open meeting in the state of Massachusetts and not have minutes. Can't do it, but they seem to be doing it.
And you can't politic.
No, so they need to be held.
Not a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and by the way, they were picking a side too in this. I mean, again,
Dude, if they're talking about protesting in one of these meetings, then that's way out of bounds. That right there should be grounds for terminating this group. I don't say, oh, they get a second chance, they get a third chance. If you're talking about protesters and setting up protests, and you're in a committee for the town of Winthrop, an advisory committee, then something needs to be done. And we'll just start holding people accountable. Town councilors, town council president, something needs to be done. We want minutes, though.
Well, and I think the big takeaway for me, and I hope parents think about this. Look, if there's value in these trainings, that's fine. But we, the parents, are not having say in some commission that's been appointed. That's a very politically active commission that is driving a
they certainly are.
agenda.
Quietly, by the way, until now.
And they're having say on how our teachers are going to do better. I think we have a right as parents to know if you should be spending $20,000 of our tax money on this stuff for 28 students.
Well, I think that there actually needs to be, like I said, when they have these meetings, when this diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, when they have their meetings, people need to attend, and they need to record these meetings, and they need to put them on Facebook Live and just be there, be in front of them,
And
make them transparent. They're not in the shadows anymore. And we're taking them out of the shadows because that's where they've been. They're organized. I can't say that enough.
they are organized. And if they have a set day that they meet, like the town council and the school committee do, can we put it on the town calendar? Because I've been invited several times to attend a meeting, but I'm looking now for meetings on the town calendar. Still don't see one.
Evidently, they have 48 hours before their meeting. They put it up on the bulletin board in town hall. So they do the minimum required because they don't want attention.
Right. Well, they do know when their meetings are, right? Or at least they know better.
They have to know. Of course they know. They're organized.
Hours. Right. They have. Well,
They just don't know how to keep minutes. They don't know how to produce minutes.
They're not.
That's one thing they don't know how to do.
Body, right? They don't understand Robert's rules and all that other good stuff.
No, they have their own rules. And God forbid, I guarantee if they get approached by any one of these town councils, they're going to say, racist. You're racist. You're breaking us up because you're racist.
Very true.
Winthrop's too white. They'll do something like that. It's inevitable.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time before we start getting that. I mean, I got it last week. I'm sure I'll get it again this week.
You're a racist. Stop it.
I'm a bully. I'm a homophobe. Anything I see, and that's the thing. That's why certain liberals, I won't generalize them,
Socialists.
if you disagree with them, and I said this last week, and that's why this person or people must have got upset. Because if you disagree with them but you make sense, you're labeled. You're a bully. You're a homophobe. And they proved my point. That's the funniest part of this whole thing. They proved my point. They love throwing labels at you. And I'll get it again this week, I'm sure. I just don't think they like the way I might have done a little mock-up on the... It's a racist. Yeah. I couldn't help myself.
Stop it, racist.
I know. But that they proved my point. They love labels. If you disagree with them, then they start screaming names.
For a just in general, for an ideology that's so wanting to unite, they really know how to divide themselves into, I mean, the LBG, well, how did it start? Was it queer? I mean, I don't even remember how it started.
I don't know.
But it has so many iterations at this point, and there's infighting among the factions too, like whatever. There's just so many different groups.
I still say the best one is BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. So it's redundant, and they're not Indigenous. I know evidently liberals don't understand what the word Indigenous means, but they love saying BIPOC. But they don't understand what Indigenous means. They don't, but they'll ignore that. I don't know. I don't acknowledge that. BIPOC. Right? I don't acknowledge the word Indigenous. Anyways.
Oh.
All right. Well, so we know that the diversity, inclusion, blah 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 committee has their finger in the pie, and they're starting to show results because now white teachers are being taught that they have to manage and understand their white privilege.
That's right.
And they have to do better. Let's see. All right, now it's LGB. Let's put this up on the screen and we'll educate people on it. LGBTQIA. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, and asexual, or allies. So, now when I was growing up, queer was a bad word.
You can say it now. You're allowed, sir.
It was a bad word. It was like you called somebody that word, then that was like using the N word. That was bad. That's like the F word.
Words' meanings changed for
so
people.
I'm confused. But hey, listen, add all the letters you want. It's great. I don't have an issue with that. They should rearrange them so it says something.
So it's easier to remember.
Yeah, I'm sure you can make a word out of that.
Cut us some slack here. If you expect us to communicate properly, can you dumb it down
No,
a bit?
I really don't have any. I don't have it. It just, well, anyways.
Can you Homer Simpson it for me?
But he's right behind me. Be quiet.
Of course
He's
is.
listening. All right, well, listen, man. We just had a 1 hour show.
Which we didn't plan on, but very well done.
Yeah. There'll be more coming up next Monday, and we're in the process of trying to get some somewhat heavy hitters on the show.
Yeah, we can tease
We're
it
in
out.
talks.
We're trying to land Lydia Edwards. I went to her coffee hour 4 or 2, whatever it was. She raised some issues. Some questions I'd like answered are, I'd like some clarity on her positions on law enforcement. Because when I see things, and I'll just share this with you real quick. When I see things that say, if you forgive me, and we want to create an alternative police mechanism that is unarmed, that is community-based, community designed, and that is about community healing.
Well,
it certainly didn't. It was very incongruent with what she was saying to the 2 police officers in the room the other day.
well, let's, and again, we invite her on.
Yes.
It's when we interview people, it's not as freestyle as we are when we do it, a regular show like this. We'd love to have her on. We have not ambushed a guest yet.
Not yet.
And we don't do that. That's not our style. Transparency, we will give the person that we're going to interview the topics that we want to discuss, but we won't give them the questions in advance. We want an organic conversation. And hopefully she wants to come on, and it'd be cordial. We're not going to go free wilding on her. And so hopefully she comes on and she can explain, her policies, her stances on things, and we'd be glad to hear it. We will have some questions, but
Yeah, can't wait.
so
I hope it happens.
that's it, buddy. So
That's it. It's time for Monday night something.
yeah, wait a minute. We got one more. It's always somebody at the end. If guests believe in their agenda, they shouldn't be afraid to come on. That's right. And I think she'll come on. I mean, look at, we have a small following now. We garner a little bit of attention. And I think going forward, we're only going to get better. We're not even, I don't think we're 20 episodes old yet.
No,
This
we're not.
might be the 20th episode.
We're approaching.
Yeah.
And just for a little tantalizing for Lydia, I think she knows the political waters out there. She's pretty confident that Winthrop's not going to go her way. However, she only needs to minimize the damage to take a victory. She doesn't have to win Winthrop. So
unless you never know. Listen, she might garner a bunch of votes in Winthrop.
She could win. I mean, she's going to get a fair share, but she's,
anything can happen, man.
well, that's
If
true
she-
too. You make your own luck.
Yeah. So, listen, everybody have a nice Thanksgiving. Have a safe Thanksgiving.
Enjoy.
Eat a lot. Todd, you got any plans for that day? You going anywhere? You staying home?
No, my wife likes to cook. She makes homemade cranberry sauce that's out of this world. Her turkey's really good too. So we got about 4 or 5, 6, 7, I think, guests coming over.
All right.
Right downstairs. It's going to be great. And how about you?
Well, first of all,
19,
I don't know if you knew this about me, but I am a cranberry sauce junkie. I think I probably eat a can of cranberry sauce with my Thanksgiving meal.
Well,
But it's got to have the cranberries in it.
Oh, okay. That's how my wife makes it. with
Yeah,
the cranberry.
I like the jelly cranberry, but I got to have the cranberries in it. Well,
Which one goes in Luther? Which one goes in
it's coming Friday. It's coming Friday. Has its share of cranberry sauce. There's going to be 19 people at the KOFB studio, a.k.a. Casa McVera 2.0. We're going to be hosting somewhat of a celebrity. My wife's cousin, Brandon Vera. He fought in the UFC. He actually beat Randy Couture. He was the heavyweight champion in one championship fighting over in Asia. So he's going to be here with his lovely wife and new child. It's my wife's first cousin. That's Nick Vera. That's where the Vera comes from.
Gotcha.
So he'll be here along with family and friends. So it's going to be a full house. Nobody should be alone on Thanksgiving. I
No,
always say
sir.
that.
Everybody enjoy time with family and friends. Be safe. Enjoy the food. Go Vikings.
Go Vikings. Absolutely. And, buddy, good show.
Yeah, good show. Remember, all politics starts at the local level.
Atta boy. All right, everybody. Have a great, wonderful Thanksgiving. And if I offended anybody, I apologize. I do. I'm not being sarcastic. I apologize. But I'm probably going to do it again. Anyways, I had to. All right, got to go. Have a great night, everybody.